Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So as you know, with the help of these kinds of animated stories, I'm just practicing. So I am going to share another interesting story, so please stay connected until it ends. So without further delay, let's start. A long time ago, Rakesh and Meena used to reside in a small town. They had a daughter named Reena and a son named Raman. Both were kids and both were in a school. Rakesh and Meena both were working. That's why that's why they were unable to devote their time to their kids, and their kids were very poor in their studies. One day, Raman's principal gave a call to Rakesh, and principal says to principal then principal says to Rakesh, listen Rakesh, your your children are not interested in studies. You can look your children's marks, and if they will get similar marks again, then I'll expel from this school next time, and you should give time to your kids. Then Rakesh says to principal, okay sir, we both are working, that's why we are unable to devote our time to our kids. But I promise you, from now onwards, I'll give pay attention to my children. You don't worry. And in this way, Rakesh raised raised in home and begins scolding to the kids. Then Meena says, what happened? Why are you scolding so badly to kids? What did principal say? Tell me clearly. Then Rakesh says to Meena, Meena, our kids are very poor in their studies. We should give time to our kids. Otherwise, they they will be they will be expelled from the school. Then then Meena says to Rakesh, I have you told I have you told that many more time that why don't you look new tuition for the kids. They will go there and they will study there. Then Rakesh says to Meena, why don't you quit your job, and you should give time to our kids, then they will become good in their studies. Then then Meena replied, I have told you that many more time that and before we married, that I cannot quit my career. That's why you should do whatever you want to do. Then in this way, Meena goes in her room angrily, and kids also go to go to their room. Then Raman says to Reena, Reena, our parents our parents have do not time for us, but you don't worry, we have to each other, and we will never let down to each other. We will help to each other, you don't worry. And in this way they hugged each other, and they go to their respective beds, and they go to sleep. And in this way 2 to 3 days passed. One day Reena says to her father, Father, we have upcoming holidays next week. You should you should drop to our grandparents. We want to live there. Then Rakesh says to Raman, Raman, if you are ready, then I'll drop you both off Then I'll drop both of us to grandparents. Do you want to live with grandparents? Then Raman says to his father, yes, father, we are ready to live with our grandparents. Then Meena says to kids, hey kids, are you going to living with grandparents? Then kids says to mother, yes mother, we want to live our grandparents. And in the very next Sunday, Rakesh reached in the village with whole family, and kids were very happy to see their grandparents and started playing there. And after some time, Rakesh and Meena returned to the city, and here kids were very extremely very happy. They started playing with grandparents, and and they were enjoying their life there. One day, while playing while playing with the village of these children, and after some time they started walking in the village, and after walking some distance they reached in a huge place, and uh, a, then Raman saw an old house. Then Raman says to Reena, look Reena, how old house is this? It's going to be fun. Let's go inside and let's have fun. Then Reena says to Raman, no, no, brother. I am afraid simply looking at this place. I am not going. I am not going inside. Then Raman says to Reena, I know you are coward, but you don't worry. I am with you. You don't need to afraid. I am with you. Let's go inside. We will never get such an opportunity again. Let's go inside and enjoy. And after some time, they open they open the door of the house, and they went inside, and inside the house after some time they heard teachers voice teachers and children's voice. And again inside the house again there was a door, and they opened the door, and they saw a witch teacher teaching to the ghost of the children. And after after watching all of this, they became so afraid, and they became paralyzed. Then ghost then a witch teacher says to kids, hey kids, we are getting late, come inside and sit down. We are getting late, let's study. And because they were so afraid and they became paralyzed, they went inside the class and started studying. And after some time they cleared all their doubts. They cleared all their doubts. And at the end of the class, which teacher says to kids, listen kids, tomorrow come on time, and keep one thing in your mind, that no one let you know that you are coming here to studying, okay? then kids says to his teacher, okay ma'am, we will do as you say. And in the evening they reached in the home while playing and talking. Then grandmother asked to kids, hey kids, where were you all long day? What were you doing outside of the house? Then kids did not disclose anything. Then and they said, granny, grandmother, we were outside of the house and we were playing there. And after having their dinner they go to sleep. And the very next morning they woke up very early in the morning, and after the shower they started waiting to the noon. And in the noon they reached in the haunted school. And and they started studying again. and and in this way lots of time passed. One day Raman asked to ghost of the students, first tell me one thing in your mind. First, tell me one thing. How did you all turn into ghosts? Then, ghost of ghost ghost of the child says, you know, one day due to heavy rain and wind, the roof of the school collapsed and we all died in it. And from that day, our teacher is still teaching us. Then Rakesh and Reena again. Then Raman and Reena again became so afraid. And in this way, a month passed. And after some time, Rakesh and Meena come in the village to pick their kids. After after return in the city, Raman and Raman and Reena go to meet their spirit teacher and friends. They said they said goodbye and they said thanks, and they reached in the city. And as soon as they reached in the city, their school resumes. And in this year, they topped in every subject. Even the teacher, not only teacher but all not only teacher but principal were also surprised to after watch their good performance, and they started praising a lot. And again principal gave call to Rakesh, and both Meena and Rakesh reached again in the school, and teacher started praising a lot. And they teach and principal says to Rakesh, look Rakesh, I don't know I don't know how did this happen, but look at your children's marks. They have uh, they have topped in every subject, and they can solve maths doubt that they can solve maths question that our teacher couldn't. And in this way principal and teachers started praising a lot. But uh, but whenever Rakesh and Meena came outside of the school, then started talking, we did not give our time to our kids. And but they got how did they got good performance. And while returning in the home, they brought ice cream and chocolates for the kids. And whenever they reached in the home, they started asking to the kids, hey kids, tell me, who taught you who taught you to you able to good performance this year. But children did not disclose anything. They went inside, and in the very late night they were talking about the haunted school memories, and they were talking about which teacher and ghost of the children's. Then and uh, then Raman says to Reena, how beautifully our teacher teaches us. how beautifully how beautifully our teacher had taught us. That's why we were able to good performance. And in this way they hugged each other, and again they go to sleep. In this way in this way lots of time passed. Whenever they were talking about haunted school memories, then Meena heard this conversation, and she became so horrible. They reached near to kids and hugged to kids and says to kids, hey kids, please excuse me and tell me what was happened there. Then they disclose everything in front of their mother. Then mother asks for forgiveness and says, please excuse me kids, from now onwards I'll come from office every day on time, and I'll give you our time, and from now onwards you don't need to go anywhere for study. I'll give our time to you. And in this way they started studying very well. And uh, and and next holidays Rakesh reached again in the village with whole family, and kids were very happy. Again they started playing, but again they reached in the same place, but this time they did not find anything. And they started asking from the people of the village, but people said there is nothing of that kind. What are you talking about? Then they, thanks to spirits of the ghost. So friends, this was the story which I shared. Even now I am not good in my language, but I am practicing, just practicing. If I'll do any mistake, please excuse me. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.